Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack No.20, Day 4. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and today I'm going to work with pretty much all of the pens and pencils that are in the set. I don't have my tortillons there, but you will need those. So all the grays and the black and the red and the white, all of those very cool tools. This one's called ellish.
Because it was started on an L-like shape, right? And to learn more about the whole blossoming tangle approach that we're using in this project pack, please check out the intro video. And Maria's working on a tan tile.
I am, and I'm starting with my 01 black. I think it's black.
Mm-hmm.
And ellish is hard to describe. It's going to start with a slight S shape.
And we have the step outs for this on the in the newsletter and I think on the app.
So you can see I started with a dot so that I could have a focus. And these little what do you call that shape? It's like a
almost like a little fish-like shape there, or from that.
Yeah, those patterns from the 60s. What do you call it?
Oh, paisley.
Paisley. It looks like a paisley, and I'm doing. I think I'm doing 5 of them here, so you can see I first put down that S shape, and then a curve that meets the ends.
Yeah, it's really simple. S and curve. 2 of our basic elemental strokes.
And you can see where I didn't have enough room to put that last one. I just put it behind there, and it gave it this real kind of quirky 3-dimensional look without a lot of effort.
Mm.
So you can see I'm putting an aura on the inside, but it's not an aura that goes all the way. It goes like it's almost looks like a tool.
Like you've cut it out or something.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty thick aura. Like you're hollowing out the center of it.
Right. It reminds me of French curves, right?
Yeah. And
that's
again, notice, right? Good one.
Touche.
So each time she's turning the tile, and pretty much her hand is staying in the same place there. Just taking your time. And as with all of these videos, you can, of course, stop, rewind, play it again.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm bringing in this other S shape. Well, it's not an S. It's the opposite of the S. And I'm pulling it behind that first paisley. You can see I'm sort of in my mind drawing it. And you can see it's going to come in and go behind inside that aura we just... Isn't that pretty? Just how easy is that?
And it just wraps around.
Yeah.
And then like any good pattern, just do it once, do it again.
Well, you do it as best as you can with the opportunities that the first strokes give you.
Mm.
You know, you repeat things, but you sort of repeat things, you know? And you learn that more and more as you tangle, as you learn to tangle.
So it's one of those things that looks difficult, but it needs some focus, but any one of these strokes, once you see it done, well, I could do that stroke, and I could do that stroke, and pretty soon you've done this piece.
Well, the trick is to focus on one line at a time. Don't worry about all the other lines. Just look at that one line. I can do that one line.
Mm-hmm. There's a metaphor in there.
You think? You can find one anywhere, though.
That's true. And I like how these are interacting with each other. because they're blossoming.
Mm-hmm.
And normally the ellish, like Maria said, is a single element, but these are all tying together, holding each other.
So now we're coming down with another curved line, but this one's coming to the left. So you use that beginning, take off and land, and look at that. It's going to tie it all together. They're almost swerving in the breeze, right?
Like a really elegant pinwheel.
Yeah.
Probably aerodynamically very efficient.
I think so too. I think it would turn and turn forever.
Right?
I can see myself thinking.
Mm-hmm. And so there's this back and forth with this tangle. One side, the other side, and all basic strokes. Reverse curve or curve.
So now we're pretty much going to do the same thing on the other side. I think I'm going a little bit further down just so that it's not too even. I like the rhythms that you gather.
And this is a good example of, using the basic idea of a tangle and then adapting it to a new circumstance.
So it's getting more blossomy. But we're not seeing the ellish. Okay, I'm going to add another on these too. I believe. Yeah? No?
And you'll look up the tangle ellish, and perhaps if you haven't done it, then look at the step out and try it, and you'll see how Maria took that standalone concept exactly, and then adapted it to this blossoming. But again, what she's done on one element, she's done on each of the 5. And it ties that whole thing together.
So I'm going to go with the 01 gray. We're going to start having some fun with this.
So what we have here are all these little fragments, right?
Fragments, opportunities.
Right.
Right. And I'm going to put in here, because of all the curved lines, I thought I'd throw in some nice straight lines for Ricky, because
Thank you.
He can only just curve so many times, right? And I'm putting in Doodah, which is one of my favorites. It's such a simple thing, and I had designed this tangle from looking at frame moldings. They use this often,
right.
in a linear border kind of thing. And it's so simple, and yet it just looks complicated when it's done. It already looks like a continuity line,
right.
but it isn't.
And the name of it, Doodah, comes from a line in a song called Zippity Doodah, and it looks like a zipper, so there you go. But just alternating back and forth.
So you see what I did here? Instead of going all the way down to the end, I did something a little different. I hope I continue it.
Right.
So now instead of turning my tile, I'm going to just work. Now, if you watch me, my right hand with the pen in it almost never moves, but I have this little clock gear on the left that turns it ever so slightly.
For each one.
For each one. And you can see that's how I get this curve to be so elegant in its creation. You see the clock move?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that funny? I enjoyed doing this a lot. And I never got tired of Doodah. It's kind of just fun. So start the same way, meeting the points there.
And look how she's subtly texturing the line even, just like changing the pressure on the pen now and then.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, clock.
Right? So you've got that sense that these, like what we were calling the French curve pieces, they're going to get the doodah treatment.
Mm. So take your time with this. This is a beautiful tangle, and once you master it, you'll use it a lot. And it's a simple tangle to teach. I love it. I love it. Look at that.
Right? That works out so well. And like anything else, you think, oh, this will take forever, but it goes by, and it's a wonderful time spent.
So that's the first tangle we're going to use to fill things. And I thought because, well, we're going to go with the black one, because the ellish was a little complicated, that I would use some pretty simple tangles to fill here.
So what is more simple than our friend Crescent Moon, or more basic?
So down goes the ladybugs, those funny little ladybugs.
Those lovely orbs.
That dance around the edges. And you see I'm not particularly afraid of different size
Right.
ladybugs. So then I'm going to go back to the gray.
And this is the gray 10. The real wide one, and the lighter gray. And then doing the auras. Now, what's really fun is that all of us, Maria, myself, Molly, and Martha, and I haven't seen Julie yet.
We haven't seen Julie.
But everybody who has been doing things did elements that the other person did in the similar way, and we hadn't planned it or discussed it or seen it.
That's right. You had crescent moon, and
right.
You had moon pies, right?
Right.
Look, I forgot that. I'm wondering how many people say, you forgot one, wait.
Right. Well, that happens all the time.
Yes. So we're going to put those into that second set of curved lines that we did that went through the doodah one.
So, do it in one. And you don't have to do the same one, but it is this nice resonance of pattern throughout.
And I must have forgotten the second time, too. Look at that.
So it's really starting to take form. And, the crescent moon has this lovely, nice, dark, solid area. So you get that great contrast. And I like the contrast of the thick and thin line, and with the thick line being the gray pen.
Right.
It works out really well.
It has a softness.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, the fat gray, we're going to put down...
a really complex tangle here.
Yes. But you see this in flowers and different things. Like,
so this is like scattered perfs.
Yeah. Simple. How often do we do that, right?
And there's still a symmetry of spacing and a deliberateness of it. So it's adding a texture. So you can see the approach that Maria's taking is identifying one of the elements and then filling that element in all the places.
This is the black 01 micron. And I'm going in and adding some perfs in there.
And just really stuffing them in.
The space was such an interesting shape. I was wondering what I was going to do with that. And I think that this is kind of a neat way to do it. Look at that. I can put them anywhere. I'm magic.
Where'd that center dot go?
I know. Ooh, the red, the infamous red.
So this is a nice place to have that highlight.
Again, you have to use the jelly rolls sort of upright, a little bit different than the microns.
So you're also doing that thing. You're just not filling it all the way on one side. I'm
Right.
looking at that. Neat. So a little auto highlight there.
I'm always turning my tile, looking at it from different directions, decide where I'm going to go. So this is my graphite pencil.
And you'll notice how sharp a tip she has on that. So it really, you can get very precisely into the corners.
And I'm adding a lot of shading there, a lot of graphite.
And you can see the angle that she's holding the pen. It's
Pencil.
The pencil very, very low. That really is magical, right?
Doesn't take much.
And there's a lot left on the tortillon.
Right.
A lot of graphite left. So it's like you're pulling it into the other side there. It really makes the other part of it jump off the background. That's pretty cool. So it's neat. You know, you can see, like I left some of the pauses in here just to show, like Maria was saying, like
The thoughts.
the thoughts that go into it.
You look at it, you turn it to this way and that, and analyze, what do you think this should happen here?
And give yourself that same opportunity, because again, and we keep repeating this, but it's not, the goal is not to make an exact copy of what we do, but these are some great ideas that we've figured out ways to show new principles or show new ideas with the expectation that you'll run with them even further than we could imagine.
So keep in mind here that we're adding shading, okay? And we use that term very loosely. We're adding shades of gray. And we used to say that more often than we do now, but it's really not shading. It's shades of gray because none of it really makes sense in terms of a light source. We're just adding dimension.
As part of the pattern.
As part of the pattern. How fun is that? Look at what that does.
Yeah, this really sings on the tan tile. And
so I'm going down right through the middle.
Yeah. And this white charcoal is it's like working with, I mean, I love butter, but this is just like working with butter. It's so smooth and just loves this paper. Just grabs onto it.
And I work with my hands. You can see I'm always brushing off or adding, smudging it with my hands sometimes. I don't have any fear with that.
And it blends in with the graphite really well as well.
General's white chalk pencil is like no other. We've never found one that works the same way. It's magic. It really is.
We're total fanboys of this. Yeah. Nice.
So I love to add white on a gray or a black or a Renaissance tile because it makes you wonder what color the tile was. Okay, so once we start buffing this in with the tortillon, you'll see that it's going to look like a white tile. And I don't know how many times people have asked me on the app is what color tile is this? What did you start with? So now I'm going to shade that around a little differently. You can see I'm just going around little circles and really on the side of the tortillon.
Right. So she's using like about a half inch of the tortillon here.
Oh yeah. So it gives it like a marbling effect.
Yeah. And
again, rub it off with your hand, get rid of the excess. And then we're going to go in with this number 10 micron. And I'm going to do something you don't see that often. We're going to aura just a little bit. Now, you got to watch for a minute here so you can see what I'm going to do.
And a lot of times the smaller microns, if you do it on the chalk gets into the tip. But this
right.
This works pretty well. And if on the smaller micron it does get chalk in the tip, just go on a plain piece of paper and just keep moving it, and the chalk will flush out of the nib.
Right. So watch this now. We're gonna kind of add some. You can see I'm going light, and then dark. Light.
Look like seagulls.
Really? Yeah, I guess. So maybe this will help with the movement of the pinwheel, right?
Right.
Light, heavier.
So that's one of the things you can do with these larger nibbed pens is really control the thickness of the line.
This idea will come in handy. Someday you're on a tile and thinking, what does this need? Yeah, it just needs a little, fluttering.
But it's like contrast within the line itself, all with the principle of aura. Like whatever it is, it's vibrating. Neat.
And see, I'm going in and touching up lines in there with this fat gray pen. It's really fun pen.
Well, it becomes a tool of shading there. And again, just watch it.
Sculpt. Now I'm sculpting.
Yeah. And it just adds a little bit of contrast and accent, and it lifts it up off the back.
And it also adds detail, and you don't see it except that it looks complex. But you don't know when you're looking at it exactly what it is. That's what Zentangle is all about. It's just these fun little details. It's like putting frosting on the cake. It's awesome.
But you're right that you don't immediately notice it, but it's got such a great effect. So I think Maria's using one of the
grays.
The grays, the 01 it looks like. So it's time to put in the chop. Just find a place for it and find your chop. And if you've been watching us for a bunch of time, you'll notice that every now and then Maria shifts her chop and moves it around, and I like that idea. And the whole red and the idea of the chop was...
Watch this.
Just a touch. think we were,
You have to be very light there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was right around Valentine's Day, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
when
yeah.
we were doing these,
Everybody was affected, right?
right?
Yeah.
And then the back is sign, date,
Yeah, see, 216.
right?
Yeah.
Right after Valentine's Day.
There we go.
So thank you so much for hanging with us. Oh, I think we want to show some other ones that you
Some of
did.
the ones that came before this. So when we're designing our tiles, we go through always different iterations. You can see on the left, I left some of the gold around where those last strokes went. You can see this first one was, a little bit more in your face. This one looked so nice by itself, I just left it there. And this one here has a little bit of a different cut to it. That's pretty too, right?
Lots of great ideas we leave with you. And again, thank you so much for tangling with us. And we look forward to seeing what you do. We'll see you next for day 5. And see you soon.
See you later. Bye.
Bye now.